The subject of this video is this 2005 Volkswagen Jetta with BEW TDI engine, and we are doing a time belt job on this. We do a lot of TDI work here. For all you people on the forums who are asking what oil to use, there you go. 505.01 can cause failure on the highway that can lead to a crash. I doubt that, but anyway, I want to show this car because this car is just beautiful. I don't know where those wheels came from, but this car is immaculate, and it literally has 91,000 miles on it. And inside here, it is just beautiful, pristine, been in a garage its whole life. Yes, it's an automatic. And as we're doing the timing belt job, we had something unusual happen. Doesn't happen a lot, but you can see there, when we went to remove that bolt, it broke off in the mount. Not a problem for a shop like mine. I have a welder, I can weld a nut to it. I have a torch, I can heat the aluminum, I can force that bolt out of there, but then that destroys the thread. Not a problem for a shop like mine. I have the Big-Sert set with the tools to install the Zert in there to fix that, and it'll be nice and rugged and actually better than the factory. Now, the bolts don't break off very often, but these bolts do strip out very often on these cars because TDIs tend to be high mileage cars. People drive them for fuel economy and reliability, and regularly we see them in here with 300,000. But this problem isn't specific to TDIs. It can happen on 2 liters and 1.8s also when you're doing the timing belt. These bolts will strip out and you have to Zert them. So thought I'd show how I deal with, first of all, the broken bolt, but second of all, the strip threads, because for sure when we pull that bolt out of there, it's going to strip the threads. Oh, thought I might as well show the broken bolt, which should look like this one, of course. If it seems a little loud in here, it is. It's raining outside, and so you can hear the pitter-patter of raindrops on the roof. When you do this, you want a nut that fits around there. It doesn't necessarily have to fit the threads. I don't have one that fits the threads here, but honestly, a bigger hole makes it a little bit easier to weld inside there. You're not going to accidentally weld to the aluminum. You can't weld to the aluminum with this type of welder. So let me buzz that in there. Give me just an absolute terrible weld. I probably should have cleaned the bolt off better. Now I would put a wrench on this and try and break it loose, but there's no way. I had a wrench on this and I was turning it and I had to use a cheater bar to get it to break off just so I could get the mount out of there. And so there's no way putting a wrench on that's going to get it out. You have to heat this. You have to heat this mount. I've done a couple bolt extraction videos before already, and in one of them I mentioned how troublesome aluminum can be. So just make sure you be careful not to overheat it because it will glob away. How do you tell if you're overheating it? You just got to know from experience. And it's going to be hard to get it hot enough to make a difference because the heat will transfer from the part you're heating over into the other areas. And the bigger the part is, the harder it is to heat. But let's give it a go. That's kind of weird how it lit up on fire in that other hole over there. Must have been some oil in there or something. And as I thought. I should have cleaned the head of that bolt better. Next nut. And that one I got a little bit better penetration on the bolt. I always use a breaker bar when I do these, because what I want is to be able to turn it both ways. I don't want to have to flick the ratchet back and forth in order to turn it both ways. I wish my vise would lock down a little bit better. My vise is actually a little bit small for what we do here half the time. It does seem like I'm getting it to twist.
Hello.
Hi. Of course, I got interrupted by a car being towed in. That's a good interruption when people bring you more work. Sometimes we have more work than we can do, though. Of course, my mount is now cooled down, so I have to heat it back up. Yeah, that's moving pretty good. As I was saying, I like to use a breaker bar so that I can wiggle it back and forth and don't have just to go one direction. And you definitely don't really want to hit it with a gun. Although when it starts getting free, you can. Some people might disagree with me on that. If you're in the other camp, feel free to leave a comment down below. But I don't want to argue about it. It's kind of getting crooked. I think my weld might be breaking. Might need to change to the cherry, or might need to change to the rosebud. You can see there that the bolt brought the threads out with it, and the hole is fairly jacked up, meaning it has to have an insert. When these strip out, some people might try a American bolt that's a little bit bigger and drill it out and tap it to that size, and I'm totally okay with that. But the use of the insert allows the original bolts to be used, the exact same size. And I'll show you how that's done. I may have said times earlier, the Big-Sert's the same thing, but here's the kit, and here's the inserts that we use. You want to get nice long ones like these. Shorter ones ain't going to give as much holding power. And what this kit comes with is a drill. Sometimes it's difficult to drive this drill because it's very large. If you ain't got a drill larger than 1/2 inch, you ain't going to drive that unless you can put a socket on there. Sometimes you got to get creative. And then after you drill it, you tap it. And once again, you got to have something to drive that. Crescent wrench really ain't the best thing in the world to, or any wrench at all, isn't the best thing in the world to drive a tap with, but you got to do what you got to do, I guess, if you're a do-it-yourselfer. And then this gives a nice taper to, this cuts into it and gives a nice taper so that the top end of these inserts have something to seat against. You can see there they have a lip, and this makes the taper that lip seats against. And then this is the installation tool. You can see down here there is a thing. I don't really know how to describe it, but as you screw this into it, when this is installed, that expands outward and keeps it from backing out. You want to put oil on these threads. We'll go over that as we do it. This little gadget machine's that step into it. May need to redo that after we tap it. Trying to work hard here to make sure this is straight. This hole I was able to drill all the way through. If this other side, you may not be able to do that, so it's done a little bit different. This one I just drill it all the way through because it's makes it easy. You don't have to think about where the insert stops or where your tap stops. That part's still a little hot from the torch. Take a quick dress up on that real quick. Okay, the instructions do say to put a couple drops of oil on that. The instructions do not say to put some Loctite on this, but I like a little added insurance. Handy tap driver. And a speed handle to run it down and force that part open that holds it in place. And hopefully after you do that you can back this out without the insert coming out with it. And there we have a beautifully fixed problem. Ta-da! Oh, in case you care, that's the dealership number for the replacement bolts for this mount. I don't know if you're seeing anything over there, but a big shot of my bald head and my elbow. This isn't a how-to, it's just demonstrating that the use of the time-zert tool. But you do have to kind of align this. You know, there's a term like mount equalization, and but this one's lined up really, really well. I'm going to torque spec on these vertical bolts. 74. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you find that 74 foot-pound torque spec to be in contradiction to your manual, post it in the comments down below. But that torque spec was updated by Volkswagen, even though some of the manuals say something different. Torque them to 74. Now if you're doing your time belt and you run into this problem, and you don't want to buy one of these time-zert or Big-Sert kits, they're quite expensive. But if I remember right, these inserts themselves are $11 or $12 each. And you don't want to buy those. You're welcome to send your mount to me, and I will install zerts in it for you. Matter of fact, I probably have quite a few of these laying around that I could zert for you and ship to you on an exchange basis. Or you can sell them outright because the return shipping would be a little bit prohibitive. But if you need this service done, contact me at www.kansascitytdi.com. If you're looking for some other cool videos to watch, click that one right there, or maybe that one right there, and you can click the subscribe button right there. Just do it.